Okay, we continue. We are in our second video now. And here we're going to do a lot more examples. Okay, I'm going to go through 36 examples. And remember that they'll be carrying a lot of different things almost all the time. Like, we'll do at most 2 questions with the same thing. Okay, from then on, it's just going to be a different concept. So try to make sure you pay as much attention as possible. There's no repetition here, all right? If it's repetition, it's barely there. Okay, something is changing all the time. All right, now let's go through it. Let's see how we do. I'm pretty sure you now have the hang of it. You know how we're taking something to the other side, and when it goes to the other side, it's just going to do the opposite. All right, that's how we're doing the subject. So let's go through. In here, we've been told to make X the subject. All right, let's go ahead and make it the subject. First one says we have 3x plus 2 being equal to 9. Okay, 3x plus 2 is equal to 9. So we're supposed to make X the subject. Now you see that there's much more now. Okay, we have more processes. We have 3 multiplying and we have 2 adding. And all these guys are supposed to go because X is supposed to be the subject. He's supposed to remain alone. So what is it that we're going to do? Well, when we are making X the subject, we start with things that are far away or further from X than the other one. So I see I have 3 and 2. Who is further from X? Who is further? This happens when you have things in one line. We only have one line here. We don't have division or anything like that. So 2 is further from X than 3 because 3 is right next to X. So we are going to start with 2, all right? We're going to start with 2 because he's further from X. That works. Just use that. It works. So 2 is further from X. We see there's a plus sign between it. And 3 is right next. So we start with 2. 2 goes to the other side. He is adding. When he goes to the other side, he will subtract. So it's going to be 3x is equal to 9 is already there. 2 is coming to subtract. So it's going to be minus 2. And you're going to have 3x being equal to 9 minus 2 is 7. Now we take 3 to the other side. What is 3 doing? He is multiplying. If he goes to the other side, because when you see 2 numbers, like a number and a letter being written next to each other, it means that the number is multiplying. Because if I say 5 times y, my solution would just be 5y. Okay, I write them next to each other starting with the number. So 3x is 3 times x. All right, it's the same thing. So that means 3 is multiplying right there. If I take it to the other side, it should divide. X is equal to 7 is already there. 3 is coming to divide. And this is your final solution. Let's go to number 2. 4x, we have a lot, right? But be patient. We'll be able to go through all of them. 4x minus 5 is equal to 8. What do we start with now? It must be getting into your head that we start with 5 because he is further than 4. 4 is right next to x. You don't start with 4. You start with 5. What is 5 doing? 5 is subtracting. If he goes to the other side, what's the opposite of subtracting? It's adding. If you don't know, I recommend you to go watch the first one, okay? The video in the series, it has the opposites, all right? Or the second one, rather. So, 5 goes to the other side. He is subtracting here. When he goes to the other side, he should add. So I remain with 4x is equal to 8 is still there. 5 is now coming to add. And now 4x is equal to 13, all right? Now, what do? I then take the 4 to the other side. What is 4 doing? He's multiplying. If he goes to the other side, what will he do? The opposite of that. What is it? Divide. So x will be equal to 13 over 4. And this will be your final solution. You're done. Let's go to number 3. dx minus k is equal to f. Remember, we are making x the subject. In other words, x should remain alone on the side of the equal, on whatever side it is on. And remember that you first check if your x is positive or negative. If it's positive, that's when you leave it there. Okay, you can just go ahead and make it the subject. You make it the subject by taking everything else, which is not x, to the other side. So we're going to take this d and this k. Who do we start with? K, because he's further from x. D is right next to x, but k has like a sign. So we in between them. So we start with k. K goes to the other side. What is he doing on the left? K is subtracting. When he goes to the right, what will he do? He will add. So dx is equal to now. F is still there. He's already there. K is now coming to add. So it'll be f plus k. And we now have dx being equal to f plus k. Then what do? We take d to the other side. So x is still there. It is now, x is now alone, It is now equal to f plus k. We're already there. You start with the things that are already there. And now d is coming to divide. So d will come and divide everything that was already there. So f plus k, we're already there. D will just come and divide them, and this is your final solution. All right, now we come to this. Number 4, it's saying xx minus g is equal to z. Don't be confused here. Remember, we are making small x the subject. So this big X is not small x. It must go to the other side. We don't want it. We want the small one. All right, so we take everything that is not small x to the other side. Who do we start with? G, because he is further than this big X. Okay, so we'll remain with xx being equal to z is there. Now G is coming to add, so it'll be plus G. And then we take this capital to the other side. X will be equal to z plus G all over capital X, okay? It's a Z or Z, whatever you call it. Now we have another one. Sx minus t is equal to m plus a, okay? We're getting used to it now. We're getting used to it. What do? We start with this t. Goes to the other side. We remain with xx, sx. Why? Because t is subtracting. He's further from x than s. S is right next to x. So we start with things that are far away. We start with things that are further away. Okay, when we have one line, we only have one line, we have nothing else here. So we start with things that are further away because we see that our x is positive. So we must leave it on the side it is on. It's on the left, we leave it there, we take everything else. So we start with this t, it will be equal to m plus a, we're already there. Now t is coming to add because he was subtracting on the left. When it goes to the right, he will now add. Okay, now what's the next thing? We're going to then take the s to the other side. All right, so let's go ahead and take s to the other side. We remain with x being equal to m plus a plus t. These are already there, and s is coming to divide, and we're done. All right, we'll go to number 6. Q is equal to rx minus 6. Where is x? On the right. Is he positive? Yes, because there's no sign in front of him. Remember, we said if there's no sign in front of him, then he is positive. The only way we know a negative number is to look and see a negative sign in front of it. That's a negative number. Like this 6 is a negative 6. All right. So we're going to now make x the subject. X is on the right. He's positive, so we're not going to move him. We're going to keep him on the right-hand side. We're not going to move him. And we're going to take everything else, which is not x, to the left. We have r and we have 6. Or we have r and we have negative 6, whatever you want to say. So who do we start with? We start with 6 because... or the negative 6, because he has a sign. I mean, this 6, there's a sign between x and the 6. So he's further. Look at r. R is right next to x, so we don't start with him. We start with negative 6. Negative 6 goes to the other side. We have q, was already there. This minus 6 is now coming to be a plus 6. That's the opposite of subtracting. And we will have rx. Then next, who do we take? R. What is r doing to x? R is multiplying. And it goes to the left. What will it do? Opposite is to divide. So it'll be q plus 6 all over r being equal to x. And you're done. You're done. Just taking to the other side and make it do the opposite. Let's go to number 7. We have r is equal to tx minus d. Okay, we are making x the subject. Who do we start with? We take everything that's not x onto the other side because our x is positive, as we can see. That's a tx. X is positive there. So we're going to take everything, as long as x is positive and you're making it the subject, you're going to keep it where it is. You move everything else, as long as it's positive and not in a fraction. So anyway, we see it's positive, so we're going to move everything else. This t and this d. All right, so d starts because he's further away. We have r plus d being equal to tx. I hope you know what I've done here. Then next we take t. T is multiplying, goes to the left, he will divide. So r plus d O over t is equal to x. Now you're getting the hang of things. That's why I moved a bit faster on this question. I hope you understood what I did. Number 8, we now have a different scenario. We have 3 multiplying x plus 4. Okay, 3 is outside the bracket and he's multiplying everything inside. Okay, it's multiplying x plus 4 and it is equal to 9. So we're making x the subject in this case. How would we do it? I mean, sometimes people say, oh, expand and stuff like that. But let me tell you. In this simple case, this is a simple case because we have 3 affecting everything inside the bracket. We're supposed to make x the subject, but he's being affected by the 3. Since 3 is affecting everything else that is on the left, he's affecting x and 4, so you can just take it to the other side. So we're going to have, we start with that 3. Why do we start with him? Because he's affecting everybody. We are stuck as long as he's there. So we take it to the other side. We now have x plus 4 remaining, and it is now equal to 9. 3 was multiplying because bracket is like to multiply. It goes to the right-hand side. He's going to now divide. So we now have x plus 4 being equal to 9 over 3 is a 3. Then we take 4 to the other side. X will be equal to 3 minus 4. And that means x will be equal to negative 1. Again, what did we do? We started with 3. Why did we start with 3? Because 3 was affecting everybody. We were stuck as long as he was there, because it's multiplying everything in the bracket. So it's affecting everyone. So we take him to the other side so that we get rid of the bracket, and then now we can be able to make our subject with the formula easier. Number 9, h is equal to n multiplying this whole thing. I mean, we already know we start with n because n is affecting everybody. So it's going to be h over n. Remember, I leave my things on the right-hand side as long as x is positive. X is positive, so you leave everything on the right-hand side. It is equal to x minus d. Simple like that. Then we take d to the other side. We now have h over n is equal to, d is now coming, okay, and he is going to add, and it is equal to x, okay? He's going to add because he was subtracting on the right. When it comes to the left, he will add, and that's it. Now we go to the number 9 and number 10. I don't know why I didn't give them much space. I'm going to need space. Wow, I didn't actually give them space. G multiplying x plus m is equal to f. We start with g, we will remain with x plus m being equal to f over g. Then we just need to make x the subject. X will be equal to f over g and then minus m, okay? Because m was adding, goes to the right-hand side, it will subtract. Sorry for the scruffiness there. All right, now we have s being equal to k multiplying x minus e. Again, we just start by taking this k to the other side. S over k is equal to x minus e. Then to make x the subject, maybe I'll continue there. To make x the subject, we just take this negative e to the other side, is going to add. So s over k plus e is equal to x. Make sure you understand the case when there's a bracket, all right? I'm sure you're getting more and more into your knowledge. Now let's see what the next thing is saying. Make y, okay? The new rule is saying make y the subject in the following. So we now have another bunch of questions, and we're now making y the subject. So it's always important to know what you're making the subject. All right. Now let's go ahead and see. We're going to learn more tricks. Okay, these are different types. This is the new bunch of questions. Let's go. Y over 7 is equal to 2. We are making y the subject. We take 7 to the other side. Okay. We say y. We always have to break the fraction. As long as our subject of the formula is in a fraction. We don't care if he's on the top or on the bottom. Okay? We can have him at the top. We can have him at the bottom, our subject. As long as it's in a fraction, you must break that fraction. And how do you break a fraction? By taking the denominator to the other side. So we take 7, the denominator, to the other side. As long as the fraction is alone, right? 7 goes to the other side. We have y is equal to 2 times 7. Because 7 was dividing, is now multiplying. And you have y is equal to 14. We go to number 13, y over b is equal to d. We see our subject, y. Our subject is in a fraction. And we have to break it. We never leave our subject in a fraction. So we have to break that fraction, and we break it by taking the denominator. Denominator is the number at the bottom. The number on the top is called the numerator. Okay, numerator, and the number at the bottom is the denominator. Okay, so we take the denominator to the other side. That's how you break a fraction. And we always break a fraction if our subject is in a fraction. So y will be equal to d times b. That means y is equal to db. All right, number 14. K is equal to y over r. Remember that we are supposed to make y the subject. So we take this r, we break that fraction by taking the denominator r to the other side. So k times r is equal to y. Please leave my y on the right hand side. Don't start flipping things here. Leave it on the right hand side. It's proper. Okay? It's okay. It can be on the right hand side. So now k times r is just going to be rk, or kr is equal to y. Number 15, y plus p o over b is equal to q squared. Well, first thing I know is that my subject, which is y, is in a fraction. I'm going to have to break that fraction because look, b is dividing everything on the top, both y and p. So y plus p, all of them are being affected by this b. So I'll start with him. I take him to the other side. I have y plus p being equal to q squared times b. Okay, and then we are going to have y plus p being equal to bq squared, or q squared b. Doesn't matter. Then we take p to the other side. Now we're going to have y being equal to q squared b minus p. Okay? Done. We go to the next question. Y minus 3 all over 2 is equal to 4. Of course, the first thing we take is the 2. 1, because he's affecting everybody. 2, because our subject, y, is in a fraction. And we can't have our subject be in a fraction. We have to break the fraction. How? By taking the number at the bottom, the denominator, to the other side. We remain with y minus 3 is now equal to 4 times 2. Y minus 3 is equal to 4 by 2 is 8. Negative 3 goes to the other side. Y is equal to 8 plus 3, which means y is equal to 11. We're done. Number 17. Y plus t all over q is equal to 8. Of course, we know what to do. We start with the q. So y plus t is equal to aq, okay? Or qa, whatever I do. Then t goes to the other side. Y is equal to aq minus t. Because t was adding on the left, goes to the right-hand side, is going to subtract. Let's go to number 18. N is equal to y minus r all over t. T goes to the other side. We have now n times t being equal to y minus r. N times t is nt is equal to y minus r. Then we're making y the subject, right? Yes. So r goes to the other side. Nt plus r is equal to y. Remember that we are keeping y where he is, because he is positive already. So stop flipping things. Now we have 6y plus 5 all over 4 being equal to 2. Okay, so first thing first, we have to take 4 to the other side, because he's dividing every single thing on that left-hand side. 4 is dividing everything, so he's affecting everybody. So we take him first. We deal with him first. We take him to the other side, because he's making it a fraction. We don't need a fraction. We're going to have 6y plus 5 being equal to 2 by 4. And we're going to have 6y plus 5 being equal to 8. Now we have a situation that we have seen before. We're making y the subject. We have 6y and 5. They have to go to the other side. Who do we start with? 5. Because he is further. So we will remain with 6y being equal to 8 minus 5. And we have 6y being equal to 3. Then 6 goes to the other side. Y is equal to 3 over 6. And y is equal to half. You are done. Okay. Then we'll go to number 20. Ty minus m all over q is equal to p. Of course, we know what to start with. We start with q, because it's affecting everyone. So it's going to be ty minus m is equal to p is already there. Q is now coming to multiply. Okay, you can just write it as pq. So we could say this is just pq. I mean, we don't have to say p times q. We now know that p times q is pq, right? Okay, so now we have a situation we've seen before. We have this t and this, and they have to go. Who do we start with? The m. So ty is equal to pq plus m. Then we take t to the other side. Y is equal to pq plus m all over t. We are done. We are done. That's what you're supposed to do. Okay? We go to number 25. Number 25? Yes. Oh my, there's still one with a fraction. Yeah, it is there. I mean, this is nice because y is now on the right-hand side. So it just serves as a reminder. Okay? What do? We start by taking h to the other side. We get now gh being equal to fy minus e. Who are we making the subject? Y. What do? We take everything which is not y onto the other side. Who do we start with? E, because he is further. Look at f. F is right next to y. You can't start with f. You start with e. So e goes there. It's going to be gh plus e is equal to fy. Then now we can take the f to the other side. So it's going to be gh plus e all over f is equal to y. Why is it all over? Because everything that was on the left is now being divided by f. F is going to divide everything, and that's done. We are now on number 22. Okay? Give you a minute to tell me what has changed. What do you see that's new now on these numbers? Well, we have a negative y. Wow, there's no equal sign here. So we're going to have to skip number 22. Should we? Or we could just put a number. Say it is equal to 7. Okay. I don't know if I erased it by mistake. I don't know. So anyway, 4 minus y is equal to 7. Let's solve. Well, first thing first. Now we no longer have a positive y. we're having it as a negative y. And look, you can never, ever, ever, listen, you can never, ever make a negative number the subject of the formula. You say, what? So we can't do it here? Yes, you can't do it until you make y positive. You have to make it positive, because as long as it's negative, then you're not doing nothing the subject. You're not doing anything. So I see I have a negative y. For me to start subject of the formula, changing rather the subject, I must make it positive. And how do you make it positive? Take it to the other side to make it positive. So 4, let me remove this. 4 is now equal to 7 plus y. Okay, 7 was there. Y is coming to add. Now we have it being positive. We can now make it the subject. How do you make the subject? Take everything that is not y to the other side. So it's going to be 4 minus 7 is equal to y. What is 4 minus 7? You can put in the calculator. You get negative 3 being equal to y. You are done. You are done. Negative 3 is equal to y. Let's go to number 23. Okay, we've gone a long way. We're doing well. E minus y is equal to h. What's the first thing you notice? Oh my, I have a negative y. Remember, how do you know it's negative? You look at the sign in front. If the sign in front is a negative, then it's a negative number. So, oh my, I can't deal with it right now. What should you do? Make it positive. Then you can now start doing the subject of the formula. So, how do I make it positive? Take it to the other side of the what? Of the equal sign. So we now have e alone. It is now equal to h was there. Y is now coming and he's eating. Amazing. Now what do? We can now make y the subject. How? By taking h. Everything that's not y has to go to the other side. So h has to go to the other side. Remember, leave it where it is if it's now positive. So leave that y on the right-hand side if he is now positive. So h goes now. We have e minus h being equal to y. And you're done. You now go to number 24. Wow, that's a good job, man. Let's go. Number 24 is saying b is equal to v minus y. Who are we making the subject? Y. Is he positive or negative? He is negative. Can we do the subject? Not yet. How do we start? We have to first make it positive. How do you make it positive? Take it to the other side of the equal sign. So b plus y is equal to v. Then what? Then we start the subject. How do we change the subject? We take everything which is not your subject to the other side. Okay, so who's our subject in this case? Y. Is there anything else where on the side that y is? Yes. What is it? A b. What is he doing? He's adding. Take him to the other side, please. Okay, and what's the opposite now? It's subtraction. So it's going to be y is equal to v minus b. All right? I know I'm making a whole lot of noise, but I'm printing it into your head, and then you'll never forget it. Okay, you'll never forget it. When you meet situations, you know what to do at every single stage. Now we have r being equal to t minus y. What do? Make y positive first, because he's your subject. All right, r plus y is equal to t. We've made him positive. How? By changing his side. Now he's on the right. He's positive. How do you make subject? Take everything else, which is not y, to the other side. Okay, so we have y being equal to t minus r now. And you're done. Number 26. D minus ey is equal to f. D minus ey is equal to f. Okay, check. Is y positive or negative? Look at the term with y. It's called ey. That term, is it negative or positive? It's negative, because the sign in front of it is a negative sign. Remember, ey is one thing, okay? Whenever you multiply two things together, they become one, okay? So ey is one term. So the term with y, okay, is negative. So that means we can't even start. The first thing we do for us to start is to make that thing positive, okay? That's if it's on one line like this, okay? So the first thing we have to make it positive. So it's going to be d is equal to f plus ey. Why? Why did we take ey to the other side? Because we have to make y positive. Once it's positive, we can start doing the subject. Okay, now we start with the subject. Let's go for it. We see, okay, I have to make y, I have an f and an e. I have to make y the subject. Who do I start? I have to take everything to the other side, right? And who do I start with? I start with f. Why? Because he is far away from y. So it's going to be d minus f. Because f was adding, is going to subtract on the other side, is going to be equal to ey. Then what? Then we take e to the other side. What is e doing on the right? Multiplying. If you take him to the left, what do you do? Divide. D minus f all over e is equal to y. We are done. We are done. We go to number 27. Number 27, yes, number 27. R minus xy is equal to b. What's the first thing we do? To make the term with y positive. How? By taking to the other side. R is equal to b plus xy. We've taken it to the other side. We've made it positive. Now we can start our subject of the formula. Who do we start with? B. Why? He is further from y. So R minus b. Okay, because b was adding. If it goes to the other side, he will subtract. They are opposites. It's now equal to xy. What are we making subject? Y. So we now take x to the other side. R minus b. O over x is equal to y. Why O over? Because x is now going to the left and is going to divide everything that was already there on the left. Sure. Now let's see number 28. N is equal to t minus my. Now we are fast. We can see that our term with y is negative. We take it to the other side to make it positive. N plus my is equal to t. Good. Then now we can make positive. We can make the subject because our term is now positive. As long as it was negative, we're not going anyway. We're not going to be able to make it the subject. Now we can. How do we do it? Take everything which is not y to the other side. Who do we start with? We start with n. Why n? He is further from y than m. M is right next to y. But n is far away. So we start with n. So we're going to have my is equal to t. What is n doing? Adding. When it goes to the right hand side, he will subtract. Who? From t. Okay, good. Now it's like this. We go ahead and we make y the subject by now taking m to the other side. Y is equal to t minus n. We're already there. And m is now coming to divide. Beautiful, beautiful. Now let's go to number 29. I'm excited. This is going on well. Number 29, okay, probably the last one of this case, is going to, we'll have a negative again. We take it to the other side and make it positive. So v squared plus qy is equal to s. Remember, you can pause the video, try it on your own, and then confirm it my answer, see who's correct. Good. Now that we've made it positive, we can start the subject. Before it was, when it was still negative, we were not doing anything. We can't do the subject when it's negative. So we made it positive. Now we can get the subject of the formula. Who do we start with? We start with v squared. Why? He is further from y than q. Okay, so we now remain with qy is equal to s minus v squared. Okay, because v squared was adding on the left, when it goes to the right, he will subtract. Then now we make y the subject by taking q to the other side. Y is equal to s minus v squared all over q. Okay, and we're done. Now we go to number 30. Q is equal to t minus qy. Really? Yep. What are we making the subject? Y. We see it's negative. Take it to the other side to make it positive. So q plus qy is equal to t. Now we start making the subject. Who do we start with? We start with this q, okay? This one, the further one. Okay, we remain with qy being equal to t minus q. And then we take q to the other side. Y is equal to t minus q all over q again. Okay, don't be scared. It's fine. No problem. Let's now go to number 31. Okay, number 31, 7 minus 3y all over 8 is equal to 2. I hope you're not sleeping. I hope you're not sleeping whilst you're watching. I hope you're awake. Sleeping, you might not be sleeping like closing your eyes, but sleeping like losing attention. You have to be paying attention because I want you to see this. I want you to be seeing this. Okay, let's go ahead. I know I'm doing several examples of one case, but it's going to help you. It's printing it into your head. Okay, now we have 7 minus 3y all over 8 is equal to 2. How do we make the subject? Who do we start with? What do we do first? First, we have to get rid of the 8 because he's dividing everybody. Okay, we can't go ahead whilst they're still doing it. So we take it to the other side. We have 7 minus 3y is equal to 2 times 8. 7 minus 3y being equal to 16. Now when it's like this, we can go ahead. What do we see? We see that our term with y is negative. So we can't make subjects right now. We have to take it to the other side to make it positive. So 7 will be now equal to 16 plus 3y. Now we can start with our subject. Who do we start with? 16. Why? Why 16? Because he is further from y than 3. So it's going to be 7. What is 16 doing? Adding. He's coming on the other side. You subtract. And it's equal to 3y. Okay. 7 minus 16 is it negative 9? Yeah, something like that. And it is equal to 3y. Okay, you can correct me if I'm wrong. 3 goes to the other side. Negative 9 over 3 is equal to y. Negative 9 over 3 is just a negative 3 is equal to y. Good. We'll go to number 32. Q minus yy O over f is equal to h. Now we don't panic. First thing, we have to take f to the other side, because look, our y, which is the subject, is in a fraction. We have to get rid of the fraction, okay? That f, take it to the other side, so we have q minus yy is equal to hf, okay? Because f goes to the other side, and ye will multiply. We get hf. Now, what do? We see that we have our term with y being negative. We can't do anything. We take it to the other side to make it positive. Q is equal to hf plus yy. Now we can make the subject. Who do we start with? HF. Remember, HF is one thing. They don't even have a sign between them. It's one thing. We start with HF. It's further from y than this big Y, okay? Remember, we also don't want the big Y, but we start with HF. What is HF doing? Adding goes to the other side, it will subtract. Q minus HF is equal to YY. Then now, we have to make small y the subject by taking big Y to the other side. Q minus HF O over big Y is equal to small y. Good. We've made it the subject. Let's go to number 33. N is equal to B minus EY O over C. We have to make the small y the subject. Let's go for it. C goes to the other side because we don't want the fraction. Okay, for us to work, we have to get rid of the fraction. You can't pull something from the top of a fraction just like that. No, you have to break the fraction. And how do you break fractions? You always take the number at the bottom to the other side. Okay, the denominator. So C goes to the other side. We now have NC is equal to B minus EY. Now, when it's like this, we can make the subject. But the problem that we have now is that our term with y is negative. So we have to make it positive. Take it to the other side to make it positive. NC plus EY is equal to B. Now, when it's like this, we can make y the subject because it's now positive. The term with y is positive. So we have to keep it on the side where it is right now. And what side is it? On the left. So we're going to keep it on the left. Take everything else, which is not y, to the right. Okay, who do we start with? NC. Y, he's further from y than E. So we now have EY being equal to B minus NC, because NC was adding on the left. When it goes to the right, he's going to subtract. Now we take E to the other side. Y is equal to B minus NC or CN O over E. Beautiful. 3 more questions. Come on. Well done. I'm proud of you right now. I'm proud of you. So proud of you. Okay? Because you've gone a long way. Let's finish it up. We see our term with y, or our y, is in a fraction. That's the first thing we see. We have to get rid of that fraction. We have to break it. Take the denominator to the other side. So we're going to remain with d multiplying t minus y is equal to 4z. Because 4 comes and multiplies z. It just becomes 4z. All right. Then now, we see that we have this d that's also affecting everybody that's remaining now. This d is affecting everyone that's remaining. We take it to the other side. We don't want it. T minus y is equal to 4z O over d. Okay? We have to get rid of that guy outside the bracket because it's affecting everybody. Now, when it's like this, what do? Oh my. We see that our term with y is negative. We can't make the subject here. We have to take it to the other side to make it positive. Okay? So it's going to be t is equal to 4z over d plus y. Okay? Y has now come and is now adding. Then like this, we can make the subject. How? By taking everything which is not y to the other side. So t minus 4z over d is equal to y. Okay? That's it. That's it. We take, when it's like this, we are done. We go to number 35. X squared multiplying my minus n O over e is equal to g. What are we making the subject? Y. Really? Yes. What's the first thing we do? We take e to the other side. Why? Because he is making a fraction. We don't want a fraction. And he's dividing everyone. everyone. So start by taking them. It's going to be x squared is going to be equal, x squared multiplying my minus n is equal to eg. Okay, eg example. Now what do we do next? We take x squared, obviously, because it's affecting everybody. We need to remove that bracket. We don't need it. So it's going to be my minus n is equal to eg over x squared. Remember, look at what it's doing. So that when it goes to the other side, it will do the opposite. X squared was multiplying because there was a bracket. If it goes to the right, it will divide. That's the opposite of multiplying. Now when it's like this, we look at our y. Is a y positive or negative? It's positive. Hooray! So we're going to keep it on the left. We're going to keep it where it is. Take everything else which is not y to the other side. Who do we start with? N. He's further away than m. Okay, so remain with my being equal to ego over x squared. And then this negative n is coming. It will be a plus n. Then what do we do now? We have this m to get rid of. M is multiplying, so y will be now equal to eg over x squared, then plus n, then everything divided by m. That's your final solution. Acceptable. Now we go to number 36. Z or z is equal to L squared multiplying k minus a o over z. Take this. How do we do? What are we trying to make the subject? Okay, sorry, it's like a y. Why are we trying to make the subject y? How do you make y the subject? Take everything which is not y to the other side. We start by taking z. So it's going to be z times z, okay, is equal to L squared multiplying k minus, oh my, what am I doing? What am I doing? Multiplying k minus y. Z times z, I'll tell you now, is going to be a z squared, okay? Although I know you haven't done the laws of indices, that's our next stop. It is now equal to L squared multiplying k minus y. What do? Do we expand? No. Why? Why is it that we don't expand? Because we only have one y. I'll teach you. You'll see as we do more examples. L squared comes to the other side. We have z squared o over L squared. It is equal to k minus y. Is our y negative or positive? It's negative. Oh my. We can't do subject right now. We have to take it to the other side to make it positive. So z squared over L squared plus y is equal to k. Then now we can make it the subject. By who? Taking everything which is not y to the other side. Y is equal to k minus z squared over L squared. We are done. Well done. Because you are done. Let's see more examples in the next video.